Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, of course, we have Jim Rosati. We're both here live at the Winter Meetings in Orlando, wrapping up day two.
Day two is over, and not a great day for the Pirates.
Well, not if you're a Pirates fan, no. But I feel like overall, once again, it was like a pretty slow day for the Winter Meetings in general. Last year was pretty popping. It's been kind of slow most years. Last year was a pretty eventful year. This year it seems like it's going to be one of those slow Winter Meetings where I think most fan bases are maybe hoping that the talks progress and then they happen afterwards. But if you're a Pirates fan, especially, it was a sad day.
Yeah, there's still some time. I mean, at this time last year, not a whole lot had happened. And then, the Horwitz trade dropped.
Yeah.
Pretty late on Tuesday night. So you never know what could happen after we record this. Who knows? We might be doing an emergency podcast at like midnight tonight. I hope not. Or actually, you know what? I hope we are.
I hope we do.
Yes,
for
no.
your sake.
Yeah.
I hope we do too, but
yes and no.
Maybe don't watch it.
But no, it's been you had the Schwarber. Schwarber officially signed a contract today. He's going back to the Phillies, 5 years, $150 million. Really, the interesting thing here is, the Pirates did make an actual official offer, 4 years, $125 million, which means they actually offered Kyle Schwarber more annually than the Phillies did. But the Phillies, with the 5th year, got it done. I know we talked about this last night where we were like, I don't think 4 years is going to do it. I think it's going to have to take 5. And it sounds like what happened is, Schwarber, their camp officially got that offer and then kind of was like, hey, anybody else, you want to beat this? And the Phillies did, and now he is a Philly.
Right. And it was reported to like the Orioles matched that offer, and he decided to go back to the Phillies as well. We already know that the Pirates, again, had the 4 year 120. It was reported last night, 125. Alex reported from sources that it was, 125. Again, not much of a difference. It was 4 years instead of 5 years, but it was kind of interesting that the Pirates, based on that source, gave more money per year. And then the Reds were also in their 5 year deal. Sounds like it was, much less money in total as well. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly a market for Schwarber. He probably, the agents probably use the Pirates in the sense. Like, that's why that information being fed. They want, he probably said to his agent, I want to go back to Philly, make that happen. The Pirates did have a legitimate offer, though. Like, I want to stress that it was a legitimate offer. That was something that you could probably entertain. Not really what Schwarber wanted. He got his way to get back to Philly and the money that he wanted. So it worked out that way for him, I'm sure. But again, I think the most interesting thing about this in the Pirates' terms, I mean, yes, you have to get it done if you want to prove they didn't get it done. So that is what it is. But they were willing to spend $125 million on a player in the year 2025. Now, I understand that's not something that's completely amazing, but the record right now for a free agent contract is $39 million.
Yeah, you kind of look at this twofold. One, it is like, as far as I know, I can't recall a free agent that the Pirates went after, that was this marquee of a guy,
right?
And like actually tried and like made an official offer. That was, I mean, let's face it, it's a competitive offer. Like, if you go on FanGraphs and the free agent tracker, the Pirates offered Kyle Schwarber just about what everyone was thinking he was going to get. So It was the 5th year that ultimately got it done at a slightly lower AAV. Now, with that being said, like, yeah, I still don't think you can give them any credit. Like, hey, the Pirates tried. Yay. Well, like, they should always try, and you don't actually, like, you get nothing for coming in second place or third place or fourth place, wherever it was that they ended up. You don't get any credit for that. That doesn't translate to wins and losses in 2026. So eventually, all of these guys that they're in on, they have to actually acquire somebody before any one of us and any fan is going to actually really believe them when they hear things like, yeah, this is going to be different. Like, so far it's different in that they are telling people they're trying, because like that typically isn't what's happening, but it hasn't been any different in terms of actual results. So we're still in wait and see mode.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to make sure I stress that point too. Like, none of us are happy about that. None of us are saying here, like, oh my God, like, look what the Pirates did. But it is interesting. I mean, they had a contract out there for $125 million. So again, like, what's now that it's over with, right? Now that Schwarber isn't there, now how do they pivot? Like, to me, that's what's important. You've shown face now. You've shown that, like, hey, we were ready to pony up $125 million. Well, then you're ready to pony up $125 million. So then, like, again, it can't be like we've been talking, maybe assuming like, okay, it's a Polanco and O'Hearn, those type of free agents. It still could be, but like now you've entertained the possibility of a $125 million contract. Okay, is a Bellinger in play? Are one of the Japanese guys, like, are there possibilities of better tiered players? I don't know, but you've shown face that, like, you entertained it. So again, I think to me, it's like, I understand Schwarber didn't happen. That's one player. So what is next? Something does have to happen, and you really need to make sure something happens. Because again, you showed face here about $125 million contract being floated out there.
Yeah, you can't tell people that this year's going to be different. You can't tell people this offseason is going to be different and then not have it be different.
Right.
Like, that just makes you look even worse than you already do. I mean, the Pirates have been a laughing stock for years now. If they go out here and they're telling everybody that this year is going to be different, it's going to be different, it's going to be different, and it's not, then all you did was just smear egg all over your face.
Exactly. The fan base right now, how riled up they are, how they just don't trust you and disbelieve anything that you say. So like, when you put out the 4-year 125, I'm not saying this is why or whatever, but like, you hear a lot of people like, well, yeah, you knew Schwarber was going to take that because Schwarber wanted 5 years. So you can give something and have people say it's really competitive, knowing you weren't going to get it, but it's out there. So like, you can't put out this contract and then roll into March saying, well, here's a 1-year, $10 million value player. Hey, we tried on that guy, but it didn't work out. Like, no. Now you really need to make an impact. Like, this offseason has to be quite impactful. And again, that 125 can backfire on you if you're not making an impactful offseason.
Yeah, and Ben Cherington spoke to the media a little bit today, and he did mention that, the goal, like, he says there's like groundwork is being laid. There may not be something that happens, later today. There may not be something that happens tomorrow. There may not be something that happens next week, but he did say, he anticipates something probably happening by like Christmas.
Right.
He mentioned that, and he did mention that, they're probably going to be working all off season to improve this team. So it sounds like they're not going to just go out there and just do everything right here at the beginning. It's going to be a long process. And I said, hopefully something gets done that improves the 2026 Pirates. But at this point, we're still waiting.
Stressing it one more time. Nothing truly matters until it happens. But I do want to state, kind of pivoting, not really pivoting, but carrying over what we said last night. The vibes were different from people we talked to this offseason. The message is different. We've more or less entered every winter meetings beforehand of, what's this team going to do? And it's like, well, we anticipate we want to get better. We want to get better. We're going to try this. We're going to try that. I feel like the messaging has been quite different. Now, again, it doesn't matter. They could just be pivoting, saying, well, hey, guys, these adjectives and adverbs don't work because we've exhausted them. So this offseason, we have to use these new types of adverbs and adjectives. It could be that. But what I'm telling you is they've changed their way of messaging, and it's gone from like, we need to try to get better, and we have to. It's going to happen. We just have to fill things out and let things come to us. Like I've been using that term, right? They're going to cast a large net, and Ben uses it today on the MLB Network. But like, that's essentially what he's talking about. There's a large net out there. We are going after hitters. Schwarber fell. It didn't happen. That's just one chip. Now we have to pivot to the next one. We need to, you're going to cast a net trying to get 100 guys. You need 3 or 5 of them. So again, what is most important at this point in time that you've failed in getting Kyle Schwarber is landing that next one.
Yep. As I said, that was just the first bad news item today.
Yeah.
Second bad news item, director of pitching development, Jeremy Bleich, who's been overseeing the pitching development program over the last handful of years. He is poached by the Arizona Diamondbacks. He now moves into an assistant general manager role there. So you look at something that the Pirates have done pretty well at, which is developing pitchers and getting them to the majors and making them contributors. The guy who's been in charge of that program, no longer with the Pirates, like I said, being poached out. So yeah, definitely some discouraging news there. That, like I said, we've talked about this before, where the Pirates have, there don't seem to be a lot of people who have executed very well over the past handful of years. The ones who have, Justin Horowitz and now Jeremy Bleich, both poached by other organizations for higher roles, where it's like, hey, it would have been really cool to maybe keep those guys. Did we do everything we could to maybe elevate elevate those guys in the Pirates organization? I don't know, but yeah, that was some rough news today as well.
Yeah, it really was. But it is what it is. I mean, you hear people talk about that. Hey, it's a sign of a good organization, right? You have good coaches, you have good people in your system. They're going to get poached, you're going to move on, right? I just tend to believe that that's not really the situation. It's that, hey, there's a few like really good standouts, and they were poached. Yeah. So, because again, let's be honest, like this is a team that had 76 wins, 72 wins, year 6, right? So, I mean, things haven't been going well. Now, maybe things get better on some fronts, and they've infused this organization with some talent. But again, like Justin Horowitz was one of them. Like he was a new guy that came in. You saw the drafts improve. Like, hey, they are infusing it with talent, and then he moves on rather quickly. And like you said, that's kind of like what I think that the bummer is. They see the talent. Why didn't they do everything they could to maybe keep it? Like, why couldn't they promote them to another role? So yeah, another thing where like there was a really good bright spot on this team organization system, and now that's gone. So
yeah, and who knows? I mean, maybe they tried. Yeah, maybe they tried.
True. And again, doesn't mean that it's gone. Right. Doesn't mean like, hey, now the system's broken, they won't develop pitching anymore. But that was a bright spot, and yeah, they moved on today. So again, a list of bad news that happened today, and then we move on to the MLB draft, where the Pirates had the third best odds. Of course, maybe they can get the number 1 pick. There's a really, really good member that's going to get drafted next year that could go number 1 overall. Of course, there's still a whole season to go. We saw what happened to Kumar Rocker, right? It was Rocker or bust, and then, well, Rocker kind of busted. Right. And it worked out for the Pirates in a sense. But, again, like right now at this point in time, see if they get the 1 pick. They had a third best odds, and they end up at number 5.
Yeah, the draft is it's far away. JJ Cooper, we talked to him earlier this morning, and he stressed that like there's a clear-cut number 1 guy, but like a lot of things can change. I mean, there still needs to be an entire college season played, an entire high school season played, a bunch of showcases out there. So there's a lot of baseball to be played. Who knows what's gonna happen there? The Pirates get the 5th overall pick, which is worse than what you would have hoped for based off of their odds. But they got a pretty good pick at number 5 last year. They got a really good pick the year before at number 9. So it's not like there's going to be no talent available to them. It's just now they gotta identify the guy who's going to be available there and make it a good pick.
Right. But it's kind of interesting. Again, like the lottery, how it is. It's just interesting. It's not based off your record. You get odds. It's a lottery. So you can have a team like the Giants who didn't have great odds, but they end up with the number 4 pick, I believe. So they jumped. They jumped, I think, 10 or more spots. And you have teams that kind of fall where they were, like the Marlins to some degree. So again, like that's cool about the draft is nothing's guaranteed. So you can have the biggest loser of losers and they don't get the top pick, and you can have a guy who tries and they end up with the top pick, like the Guardians a few years ago. Yep. So the Pirates get the 5th best pick next year. But the interesting about that is now they had 2 lottery picks in a row. So what's going forward is for next year, they won't be able to pick in the lottery. So kind of like how the Washington Nationals ended up with this year.
Yep. So the next year, the highest they will be able to pick is 10th.
Right. So when you can't get a top 10 pick, or I guess top 9 pick, probably just go for it, right?
Yeah. Just win some games.
Just win some ball games.
Let's just do that. Yeah.
So there's some more incentive to do what you need to do this offseason, Ben Cherington.
Yep.
But outside of that, it was a day. It was an eventful day for us. We have tons of content out there. Talked to quite a few people. I mean, obviously manager Don Kelly we talked to. Some interesting stuff that he talked about. Also gave us his Permanis sandwich.
Yeah, big roast beef sandwich guy.
Yeah, not a cap and cheese. So, no. I mean, I don't know. kind of a strike. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Don.
we'll see. But no, today it was a good day. Like I said, lots of stuff out there for you. Again, JJ Cooper from Baseball America, we talked to this morning. He answered your questions on the Pirates system. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. After JJ, we talked to Jolly Olive from John Boy Media. That was a fun conversation with him. Honestly, genuinely great dude. He really is. You know, I mean, you see him on YouTube, on social media and stuff, but like seeing him in person, like it's nice when you see like, oh, this is genuine. Yeah. So awesome guy. Listen to that. Also, again, like what's cool about him is like for some reason he's like in tune with the Pirates. Yeah, it's like his number 2 team. Freddie Sanchez, like his favorite player. So big Freddie Sanchez guy. Yeah. So listen to that, and then of course I wrapped it up with an AMA with Jason Mackey, who had some pretty good insight. A lot of questions. So we thank you all for joining. So those are our 3 AMAs. The Don Kelly interview, of course, will wrap up today, and maybe Jim, an emergency podcast at midnight. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. But tomorrow, Rule 5 draft. So there is that. Of course, we're going to have a little more AMAs. Probably Steven Nesbitt, one of them, wrapping up maybe some more guests. But again, hit those alerts. Get that subscribe button. Follow us. We got some more content coming your way. And then Sicko Sound Off on Friday. I'll be hosting that. That's your way of tuning in, chiming in, just going wild, crazy. Of course, the theme will be the winter meetings. And hopefully we're not too disappointed. Yeah. But if we are, well, you have a place to vent. And also NS9 Live tomorrow. We're going to do it an hour early so we can get out here a little bit earlier. But 8 p.m., we'll be doing NS9 Live here from Winter Meetings. So, yeah, looking forward to that too. Hopefully we got hopefully there's an eventful day to talk about. Yeah, hopefully. So with that said, though, we are out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early once again, unless there's an emergency podcast. But until next time, bye-bye. See you guys.